Alright guys, welcome back to Scotty Knows. Today's video is going to be in regards to this 2007 Chevy Trailblazer, in which I'm actually going to have to drop the transmission pan and replace the torque converter solenoid as well as the 3.2 solenoid. I'm having a little bit of problems with it shuddering a little bit when I'm driving between the 30 and 50 mile an hour range, where the transmission seems to be not necessarily slipping, but it is starting to shudder a little bit. So I'm going to actually see if I can replace these solenoids, which has been recommended to me, to try to do this first before I replace the torque converter, which I really don't want to have to do, which actually involves dropping the transmission, which again, I don't have a lift here, which makes it more difficult. It is something that I'm capable of doing. However, if I do have to go that far, I'll probably just take it to a shop. I don't want to mess with the transmission stuff. But I will replace these solenoids with these AC Delco solenoids, which hopefully may solve my problem, which I'm hoping it solves my problem. So let's take a dive into that and see if we can get that done. Before I get started, however, since I have been working on other projects with my 95 Civic that I've actually just put the motor in, I do have to go by my dad's garage and get some of my tools, mainly my jack, a couple of my impact guns and things like that. I need to get some tools so I can get this thing jacked up and get under there and get this work done. So hopefully I'll get that done today, but stay tuned and we'll tackle this project. Alright guys, so we're on the way over to go ahead and pick up my jack from my dad's house, and I just got a message back from a seller who's selling a Del Sol dash, the smooth dash, over where the airbag on the passenger side goes, and I've been looking for one for a really long time. This one seems to be in good condition, at a reasonable price. I couldn't beat it, 50 bucks. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up on the way over to get my jack. So stay tuned, we'll get all this stuff. I'll show you the Del Sol dash once I bring it in. I've been looking to replace this one in my Del Sol for a long time, so that'll be in another video when I start tinkering with the Del Sol again a little bit. As you've seen in the last video, there's a lot done, so I'm hesitant to even pull the dash out again, but I will, eventually get around to it. But I do want to make sure I have this here at my garage, so I can go ahead and refurbish this, get this painted to match the color inside the interior of the Del Sol. So you get to see how I was able to get that color to match. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and pick up these things and hopefully get back here to the garage so I can work on this Trailblazer. Alright guys, so we made it back over to the other garage. Here's the motor. Gotta cut some hose, make this the length. Gotta tighten up a few things in here. I gotta get my other transmission bolt here. That's where I mounted it to hoist the motor. And of course, before I start this thing, I do want to make sure everything is primed. I want to make sure there's oil flowing through everything. So there's going to be a process to that. Also too, what I'm going to do, just for precautionary measures, I guess, is I'm going to drop the fuel tank and just make sure that's all cleaned out and it doesn't have anything rusting in there, because again, this car hasn't been started in probably 15 years. This is actually the original motor that came out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's all cleaned out so I don't put any debris inside the fuel system. Also too, I'm going to replace the fuel filter. So a little bit more things to do. I'll probably get this started after the holidays, but for now I'll come over here to get my jack. I need that so I can track up the Trailblazer as well as my light. That way I can see what's going on under there. So after we leave here, we're going to go ahead and pick up the the Del Sol dash, and then head back to the garage and get started on that Trailblazer. So let's go. Alright guys, so we're back in the garage here to work on the Trailblazer. I got it taking most of the room up here in the garage. But I did want to go over the new dash with you guys for the 94 Del Sol. So I wanted to show you this dash here. As you can see, it's nice and smooth here. Really good condition. Missing a couple pieces, but I got those on the other dashboard. But the main purpose of this is to have this nice and smooth. My other one has the airbag right here, and to me it looks kind of tacky, and it's not the best condition airbag. But I'm going to go ahead and replace it with this at some point. Not here in the immediate future, but sometime here coming up in 2021, it'll be replaced. There's a little bit of damage here where the bolt slides in here to mount it to the front of the firewall. That can be done by some plastic weld. And I'll probably get that done before I do that. Plus I'll have to prep it and get it cleaned up, painted to match the rest of the interior. So to show you what I'm talking about, if I open up the passenger side here, you can see I got the airbag here. It's kind of damaged over in here. Not a big fan. I could never really fix that. Not sure exactly why, but the new dash should be a lot better. And again, I do have all the inserts here. You can see maybe up in the front dash here. I got the insert for that. Just have to replace all this stuff, clean it up, make it good. Shouldn't be a big deal. I do have all the pieces for this dash, so shouldn't be a problem getting the other dash done. So we're gonna go ahead and hop on this Trailblazer project. I did go ahead and get the jack over here. I got that prepped up with my engine stands. I always gotta have that on engine stands. And I do have my light. So this will help me be able to see a little bit under there. Got my jack stands. And my jack. So we're gonna get this thing fired up here and get this thing up in there so we can get some work done. So let's get to it. Alright, so I got both of the solenoids replaced. Not too long ago I did replace the two A and B solenoids in the rear. So the transmission fluid is still pretty fresh. I don't really see any metal here, and I've probably driven about a couple hundred miles on it. So again, it's not too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this pan out anyways. This gasket's fairly new. I did order a new one. Should be in soon. However, this one doesn't look too bad. Again, it's fairly new. So I'm going to go ahead and probably reuse this, clean this up pretty good, make sure everything is sealing correctly. And then I'll go ahead and mount it back on the car. So let's get to it. Alright, so got everything cleaned up. Everything's looking good, looking fresh. So let's go ahead and mount this thing back on the car and then put some fluid in it, and hopefully it fixes my shutter. Alright guys, so that's going to go ahead and do it for today's episode. I went ahead and topped off the fluid. I'm going to go ahead and start it up. It says to check it when it's warm, so I'm going to warm it up, check the fluid level, add if necessary some of the new transmission fluid. So we did again replace the torque converter solenoid and also the 3-2 shifter, downshift shifter solenoid as well. So hopefully this resolves my issue. If not, I will follow up and we have to take it to a transmission shop if I have to change the torque converter. So we'll check it out, we'll get it started, we'll run it around a little bit and see how it works. But again, thank you guys for watching. I want to wish you guys a happy holidays and happy New Year's. And please don't forget to hit that like button, that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments below, please let me know. Thank you guys and have a wonderful year.